So, to start the session, first of all, I would like to thank both of our speakers who are here with us today. Thank you so much for joining, Miss Vrinda and Miss Anju. We are really, really grateful. So, I am Ojasvi. I'm a career counselor with iDreamCareer. I have been a career counselor for over 3 years now, and I have been in the field of education for about 5 to 6 years. So, that's about me. Now, we have two very esteemed guests with us with two very important and very prestigious universities. First one, Ashoka. In 2007, Ashoka's founders embarked on their mission of creating a world-class liberal education university in India, a powerful idea whose time at that time they believed had for liberal education that the time had come. Today, with over 200 founders and donors, Ashoka has created a new collective philanthropic model of institution building. The university has pioneered interdisciplinary education and research in India, blending the finest global governance practices with a distinctive pedagogy and international faculties. And from there, from Ashoka, we have Ms. Vrinda Tandon with us. Thank you so much, Vrinda. Ms. Tandon has completed her degree with honors in French from DU, post which she did an MBA in international business from Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University. A fellow of Anand National University, Ahmedabad, she has been part of Ashoka's outreach team for over 4 years now. Her role is that of a guidance counselor, and her work includes helping students and parents understand different aspects of liberal education in India. In her own words, it's one of the most rewarding roles she has ever been in. Once again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Then we have Flame University with us. Flame University, whose educational philosophy is rooted in the concept of liberal education. Again, emphasizing that the real world does not operate in isolation, and neither should knowledge. By integrating disciplines such as social sciences, humanities, physical science, business, design, natural science, fine and performing arts, communications management, and computational sciences, Flame prepares students for an ever evolving world. Students are encouraged to engage with various fields and address global challenges through diverse perspectives, fostering their growth as critical thinkers and lifelong learners. The university aims to nurture individuals who lead purposeful lives, transcending narrow professional boundaries within a personalized and supportive environment. And from Flame, we have Miss Anju with us. Thank you so much for being here, Miss Anju. She is the Director of Admissions Outreach at Flame University, Pune, and brings over 22 years of experience in education, spanning roles in teaching, administration, and strategic planning. She's the third generation armed force family member. She embodies discipline, dedication, and resilience. Anju's career journey includes serving at prestigious IB schools like the International School Bangalore and Indus International, transitioning into leadership roles focused on admissions and outreach. At Flame, she leads initiatives across India and globally, fostering creativity, critical thinking, and innovation in students. Passionate about guiding learners, Anju finds fulfillment in supporting their college journey and shaping their futures. Once again, thank you so much to both our speakers for being here. We are really glad that we could share the space with you and ask you the questions. So, for today's session, we are going to understand both of these universities' admission process and their structure a bit better. This will help for the counselors here, for the teachers here. This will help you guide your students better. If there are any students here, this will of course in turn help you understand the whole process and work well towards that process. So we'll begin the session, and I would request both of you if you can just give us a brief about the admission process at both of your universities, like what exactly is it that a student needs to do, and how that process goes. So yeah.
Anju
Okay.
ma'am, do you want to start?
Okay, thanks. So basically, the first thing that the students and parents don't know about applying to such universities like Ashoka and Flame is that we don't need your grade 12 mark sheets before you start your application. It may sound a very basic and fundamental question, but over the years, I've seen so many missed opportunities because students thought that they must have their transcripts to be able to apply, like you have in the DU or like the other universities. I don't know if that has changed over time or not, but at Flame University, and probably same goes for Ashoka, is that you don't need your grade 12. That's number one. Number two, I think at Flame we're definitely looking at a student, we want to know everything in your application, what you've done outside of your classroom. And by saying this, I nowhere mean that you should be not looking at your academic score. It is very important, because end of it, if they're two equally, well achieved students in various fields, and one has a better score than the other, then obviously that's also a data point that we will consider, and very consciously consider rather. So again, that's a myth that anyone can apply, and this is absolutely not a fact. We are looking at the whole application and selection process is a process of mapping whether we are good enough for you, at the same time whether you're good for us. It's not based on rejection policy, like if you have a cutoff. And that's why we don't clearly say 80% cutoff or 90% cutoff. We're never able to say that. So this is something that the students must definitely understand. At Flame, our application, we don't have any essays in our application. We have an essay as part of your aptitude test, I would say. So every student finishes the application. That's a pretty much simple process, very easily described on the website. You fill in your application, basic information about yourself, your education, your family, your parents, basic information. Then we ask you to pay 2,000 rupees application fee. It's a paid application for us. Once you've paid your application fee, then we're asking you to submit the evidence for the previous information. For example, your date of birth. If you've done your 10th and you've written that I had 80% marks, now we want you to put in a transcript there, show us the transcript of that 80% or whatever you have earned. You want to, we need your grade 11 transcript. We need all this involvement of student in various other activities that where a co-curricular curriculum in your school has given you opportunities. You may have been a debater, you maybe have been an MUN delegate, or you may have raised some fund for some charity. You may have done anything. So all of those documents must be submitted on the application. Then the last part is where we ask you to write a statement of purpose. So we don't have essay, we have a statement of purpose, which is clearly stating, we have some cues, maybe what does innovation mean to you? Why do you want to join the university? That's first thing we want to know. Why do you want to join Flame? And here one tip that I always give to students and parents is, please do not put in the same information that you've already submitted. Maybe you've run a marathon, you put in there that, I ran this. And unless you need to unless there's a reason to mention, because there's some other point you want to convey, then you can mention. But then it is a limited word statement of purpose. We expect you to write about 150 to 180 words per Q. There are 3 of them. So about 450 words, 500 words we want you to write. And submit your application. Once the application is submitted, we call you for Flame Entrance Aptitude Test. In the Flame Entrance Aptitude Test, again, you have, we begin the test by doing on-the-spot essay. Now, here we are giving you a statement where we might talk about, the way the infrastructure is being developed and is it harming an environment? We want to know your views. We're not going to judge you for your views, but we definitely want to see how you're articulating your views. We're not big fans of very diplomatic opinions, diplomatic views. We want to see your opinion, and we promise you we're not going to judge you for whether you agree, you disagree, or whatever your opinion may be. And that gives us a space for us to understand you beyond your grades, beyond your some co-curricular that you've been doing regularly since you were in grade 8, or something that you've learned new. And then this is something where we get to know your viewpoint. What do you think? Who are you? And like, how do you see the world as, right? After the first part of the aptitude test is your on-the-spot essay. So in 20 minutes, you have to write about 250 words. It's AI proctored platform where you do this, followed by maybe 100 questions, which are MCQ based. They'll be based on your English, your math, basic awareness of the world. And there's no we don't tell our students to come to some coaching center and preparing for our aptitude test. If you've had a basic knowledge of math in your grade 10, uh, I don't think so you require any preparation, but definitely we don't also want that, you come really very casually, you're binging Netflix a night previous. It doesn't help. So you have to come a little focused. Look at the sample papers that we provided on the website. That will give you an understanding of what the aptitude test is about. And once that is done, so first part was your application, second was your aptitude test, where you gave your on-the-spot essay and your aptitude test. And now the third part is your interview. At Flame, we this and interview sent only to the selected candidates. You may, if we I mean, obviously, see, it's very sad for us because, I've stayed in school for a long time, and I really feel that's a tougher part for us, not to send invite for interview. But then, there are calls that we have to make. Once you have an interview with the faculty, definitely, please be aware that the faculty has seen every piece of information that you have provided. They've seen your SOP, they've read your essay, they've seen your marks, they've seen your aptitude test performance, and now they're talking to you. So again, our faculty is really friendly. They don't normally scare you off, and you don't have to be worried. It's just another way of, one more chance for us to really know if we've missed something. We want to just talk to a person. So that's the whole process. Once that is done, within, I think, 2 weeks, we do declare our decisions. And then we work on rolling or sliding principle, where the next application round will be open for other students to participate, to fill in the application. At Flame, if you've applied once and if you've not made it because of some reason, all right, then you get one more attempt to reapply. And yeah, that's about it. I'm sure you'll have questions about scholarship later. I'll pass it to Vrinda now.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. So what I have an advantage of is my PPT right now. Easy. It's very easy. Sorry, everyone. Okay. So, very quickly. Okay, I think it's loading. Give me a second. All right, it's done. Okay. So, just to simplify it, Ashoka's application process is basically divided into 4 parts. It's very easy to understand. It might look a little cumbersome, it might look a little stressful, but trust me, it is not. Because all of this work you've already done. It's similar to Flame, but it's different in its approach, right? So, of course, the documentation and everything is similar, but we take them in one go in the first stage itself, right? What do I mean by that? Stage 1 is application and assessment, all right? Now, application and assessment we are in that one form, which is, by the way, open at the moment because my first round deadline is on the 27th of this month. We are taking your personal information, your parents' information, what they studied, where are they coming from, going on to your academic journey, 10th, 11th, and 12th. We need your 10th board marks, 11th mark sheet that the school has used to promote you, and your 12th predicted scores. Because, like ma'am said, we are not waiting for your board results. We are, in fact, in a space to provide you with a proper a final yes or a no way before you sit for your board exams, right? Uh, if you've given an SAT for some other university, submit it. If not, do not give it specifically for Ashoka. Then we are looking at 2 personal essays. One is a 400-word essay, one is a 150-word essay. We are looking at a letter of recommendation in that. Uh, Basically, the only third person perspective that we have of you in the entire form, because the rest of the form is black and white or gray in terms of the essay, but actually black and white. This is who I am, this is what I've done. Khatam, right? And finally, your non-academic engagements. Anything and everything that you've done outside the classroom. Now, since there are a lot of educators here, I think I should clarify this because this is one question that we get a lot. What are non-academic engagements? Anything and everything that you've done outside the classroom. And if I have to simplify that, I have students telling me about cooking and baking in their form. because that's what they like doing, right? So we are not necessarily looking for national award winners or international award winners. They're there, great. But just in case a student is not that and they've sort of self-taught themselves a few things, it's not a bad idea to talk about it, right? We're looking at basically three extracurricular engagements. If you have more than that, you can club them. If you have exactly that, good for you guys. Then the second part of the first stage is the Ashoka aptitude assessment and the on-the-spot essay. So in all, there are 3 essays in the entire application process for Ashoka. 2 are part of the form, and 1 you sit for during your aptitude assessment. For the first round, the aptitude assessment is happening on the 8th of December. The second round is happening on the 23rd of January, and the third round is in April. So once you're done with these 3, which is your application form, your aptitude assessment, and the on-the-spot essay, there is a shortlisting that happens, and a child goes in for an interview. Okay. After the interview, the child's job here is done. Then we give them an offer. Now, 2 things to note here, which are mandatory. Not all students go on to the interview round, and the Ashoka aptitude assessment is mandatory. When I say it's mandatory, your application is null and void without it. Okay. After that, I'm sorry. Yes, Ojasvi, can I help you with something?
Yes, sorry. I just wanted to ask, you mentioned recommendations. It is compulsory to have an LOR?
No, it's not mandatory. It's highly recommended, but it's not mandatory.
Okay.
Okay.
And if in just
Sorry, go ahead.
it's a follow-up question. If in case the student does get an LOR, so like what is preferred? The subject that they're applying for, a teacher of that subject, or the head of the institution, or like what is preferred?
Anybody who knows you best.
Okay.
Because,
But somebody from
like I
your
said,
school, right?
see, no, not really. Basically what happens is, bache, anybody and everybody who can tell us about you. Because the thing is, like I mentioned, this is the only third person perspective of you in the form. That's the professional space you're in, right? How do you act in a professional space? What are the anecdotes that they can give us about you in that professional setup? That is more
So
important.
the LOR can be from my career counselor or from my tuition teacher as well.
Sure, if they've known you for over 6 months or a year.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be from school teacher or school.
We
Okay.
have coaches, Bharatanatyam teachers, Kathak teachers, pianists giving us their LORs.
Okay.
We have people where they've done like a year-long internship giving us their LORs, right? Easier is, of course, taking it from the school. But if you have somebody else who wants to give you an LOR, great. And we only need 1. There's only 1 in the entire application form. So there's no problem with that, right? And when I say the LOR, the students don't even have to submit it. They only have to give us the details of the recommender, right? We will reach out to the recommender. They don't have to do that part as well. And the recommender just simply has to copy and paste the LOR. No letterheads required, no nothing.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, once the interview is done, these are in the third stage. We are done assessing. We're done with everything, and then we give the child an offer. Confirmed offer, conditional offer, waitlisted. If anybody has follow-up questions for this, they can just let me know. To understand the kind of offers that are there. And finally, which is the fourth stage, if in case you have a confirmed offer of admission, you move to the fourth stage, wherein you can either talk to us for the financial aid or the scholarships, or paying up the first set of the fee. That's it. So that's the overall application process of Ashoka. Yes. All right. Now.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Are there any questions regarding either of the university's application process or the all the steps that they have discussed? Okay. And I just wanted to ask one more question. So what would you consider are the key components of the application, as in the documents that like I think Anju also mentioned that academic scores are very important, but that's not everything that we look into. So are there any components of the application which you, let's say, which hold a bit more weightage or which are much more important than the other components? Is there something like that as well?
Not really, yeah. I think Anju ma'am can also add to this one, and I think we'll have the same perspective on this. There is
Yeah.
nothing which will trump the other one. Every single step, every single component of the form, every single step of the process is as important as the last one. Because,
Right.
for example, you filled up an excellent form, but you sort of cocky or over smart during your interview. The interviewer will understand that.
Yeah, yeah,
You've
of
done
course.
extremely well in your predicteds. You've done very well on your SATs if you've given an SAT, just in case, right? But you are feeling a little lethargic on the day of the aptitude assessment. It'll come across, right? So
Yeah.
you
Right.
don't want to spend time and still not let it reap the rewards. So
The
every
only thing here, I think, sometimes comes up, and we do give that feedback to the school or the applicant is when the statement of purpose and everything has been written by somebody else,
Hmm.
or
Yeah,
and you can make out, you can't
yeah,
fake that because we're going to talk to you about it.
yep.
And
Especially,
sometimes there's a way difference between what we are reading and what the candidate we are meeting. So that's a big red flag to the faculty, because
And
these are the guys who kind of just pick it up right there because they're
and
teaching students
and not
all.
this someone, ma'am. It's also Chat GPT nowadays.
yeah, I
Yeah,
was about to
yeah,
say that
yeah.
I have
Guys, the
myself
language
stopped
is
a few of my
so
students.
evident. It is
Yes,
so
yes.
evident. It is not even funny. Like the
Yeah.
moment you start talking, we just know that this is not your vocabulary.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's just one thing that I would say. Rest everything, I think we're giving a very, very friendly application. You have your time to fill in. We're giving you chance not only to submit your academic record, but also so many things that you've done outside, and we're looking at them very closely.
Yeah,
So I think application part is more simple. I think what they need to be coming more prepared is for the aptitude test and interviews,
yeah,
because even there, if there's a stark difference between a top performer and poor aptitude test or vis-a-vis, so we know about it, and then that can be addressed in an interview. So the process is very student centric, I would say.
yeah. And
Yeah.
also, guys, the language, I think what sometimes you people move towards ChatGPT and everything because you feel that your language is not great. We are not looking for a thesaurus language. You are coming to the university to learn.
We
So,
like it. We like
we like the
the
rawness.
flow. We like the natural thing coming. We like to
Yeah,
read that. Yeah.
exactly.
And when you mentioned that there is this um, academics is not all that we are looking into, but is there a specific minimum percentage requirement as well that this much at least the student should have?
Not for me. I don't have a cutoff.
Yeah, there's no cutoff, but then let me tell you that there are two different things here now. So one is your eligibility, and one is your whether you'll get through. So
Hmm.
eligibility, yes, there's no cutoff, but will you get through is obviously, because these both the universities are highly aspirational, and the pool that comes in, you have to be fair to the cohort, the pool of
Of course.
applicants that we get in. So that's something that one needs to work on.
Right, right. But like there are certain, there are certain national level or other entrance exams which have this requirement of minimum percentage should be this much, then only you can sit for the exam. There is no, to at least sit for the exam or fill in the application, there is no
No,
minimum percentage
nothing.
requirement,
There's no,
right?
see,
For
the
us,
thing is,
we're not yet taking the IB certificate,
yeah.
or sorry, the course and career related program, but that's about it. Yeah.
See,
Right.
but okay, just to make it very, very clear for everybody, the amount of rigor that is there in the structure, how dynamic this structure is. If we look at just one set of kids, it becomes a problem for us. We have to have a diverse classroom, and that classroom cannot be all academic geniuses. It's
Right.
as simple as that. It has to be a mix of all. Like for example, in Ashoka, my diversity is way too much. Like for example, nearly 50% of my classes on financial aid every year. Okay. And 20% of them are coming from a 100% financial aid background. So just imagine the kind of opportunities that they've had as compared to maybe a Pathways or a Shiv
Right.
Nadar, right?
Right.
Similarly, I have 57% women on campus and 1% gender neutral, and the rest are boys. So just imagine the sort of diversity which is coming from there. Then I have registered 54 students with disabilities on campus
Hmm.
right now in this batch. There have been more in the past, out of which 8 are in fact visually impaired right now.
Okay.
Okay. Then, moreover, students at Ashoka are coming from 14 to 15 different countries, 420 different schools. Cannot all be high paying schools,
Right.
right? So their opportunities will also vary. So, in turn, of course, their mark sheets will also vary. I can't have all 100% or all 99% at Ashoka. That is not possible. We are looking to disrupt the system.
Hmm.
But yes, a few things that you should look at. Are you a reader? Are you somebody who can read a lot of documents in one go? Because of a very simple fact that we are an academic institution with a high rigor, because there is no ratta, there is no rote learning at Ashoka. So there's no set curriculum. Because there's no set curriculum, you will have to go through a lot of research material, which means your reading and your comprehension of that reading has to be strong, right? If you can work on that, it's okay if you come with a lower percentage, right? So we can take it from there. Okay.
Right. Right. No, that makes sense. Thank you so much for explaining that so much in detail. It's quite clear for me as well. So would you say that is there something called an ideal profile for a student that, or like with your, like what you have just mentioned, the kind of diversity that we are looking at, and I think the same goes for Anju ma'am here as well. So is there something idealistic that you're looking into a student profile that, okay, this, if the student is taking these particular parameters, then that's a sure shot guarantee to the admission? Are there any such parameters which you would consider?
Yeah, okay. Anju ma'am is right here. I think Anju ma'am will also vouch for this one. We've rejected a few students who've done something only for their applications. It'll come
Yeah.
across.
Okay. So last minute workshops, last minute some
Doesn't help.
internship only
Does
because
not
they have
help.
in the application.
Does not help. Because, see, at the end of the day, I think what really matters is that we should be a mutual fit,
Hmm.
right? And that mutual fit can come from any direction.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you've not done something on a national level, but you've taught yourself how to play a particular instrument. Why
Hmm.
not? So,
Right.
which means you are committed and you're somebody who has the rigor and will be able to do well at a show.
And would you
And
say, is there a difference of quality over quantity or quantity over quality, as in the
quality over
things that
quantity, always,
number of things
always.
somebody has done versus something that they have done to a certain level?
100%.
But you just mentioned that it's not necessary to have maybe played something at a national level or something like that.
Yeah, see, the thing is that you could be teaching yourself guitar for the past 4 years and you become a maestro now. वो तुमने नेशनल लेवल पे थोड़ी किया. हर
Right.
बंदा स्पोर्ट्स में थोड़ी जाता है, या हर बंदा अपना MU1 इस लेवल पे थोड़ी लेके जाता है कि वो बिल्कुल ही
Or
एकदम.
people don't learn for competitive purposes. They
Exactly.
learn for their own sake and for the lifestyle they have. There's a lot of things, yeah.
Exactly.
I think
So I had one thing on your previous one. One thing which is really which sometimes makes students not look very accepting to the university is one what Vrinda said, when you've suddenly done so many things in your grade 12 or grade 11, or or sometimes where your academic scores have been very inconsistent. All right. Again, those are the areas we've noted, and we'll ask you questions. And then again, if you have it, it's not that you can't join us. Uh, it's not that you can't join us, but the thing is, you should have a valid reason for it. Okay, and even there are a lot of students who take a gap year and then apply. There are a lot of students who apply from other universities because they maybe didn't have a great experience in their university and now want to come and start again. And there are some brave kids like that also, and parents who allow it. And so we're looking at everybody very individually. But one thing like why I did mention about the academic rigor is again not because we don't feel you'll not be able to handle that you're not bright enough or something. But like Vrinda said, this when your curriculum is based without textbooks, can you imagine how much more you have to study? Textbook to easier way out, this is it. How hard can it be to go through it? There's a different kind of hard work. But when there's no textbook, they're just concepts, they're just a curriculum or topics or courses that have to be covered. You're reading from the library, you're reading from a lot of internet, and then you're writing. You need time for that. If I have to write a submission in literary and cultural studies, 5,000 words, it'll take me at least full term to write that. I'm not writing it in one day. And maybe for that course, your assignment is only your assessment. The professor will assess you on that. You don't even give a pen and paper test. So we're looking for a student who can manage all of this gamut. It's not about that we've not taken you because you have 70% marks or something. It's not that. It's about your various other things, co-curricular or out of the class things that we're asking is to just have that understanding. That's why we're taking pain of meeting every single student who we shortlist after the written test. If you've given a written test, after that, yeah, you may not receive an interview call, but if you have, then we want to know how can we take you. And here also I'll just mention about scholarships, like Vrinda was saying. These are the places where if you get admission, if you crack, you don't have to give the dream of coming here just because you can't afford. And students are lucky to have these kind of campuses who look at all of this, which means you just have to work on yourself. Is it easy to get for everyone? No, because obviously we are limited seat programs. You can only take as many. And at Flame also, we have about 35% students on some form of scholarship, whether it's financial aid or whether it's merit scholarship. So yeah, I think students need to really build their preparation accordingly. It's not very casual attitude. They must come prepared. They should know what then. That's mutual respect for us then.
Right. I think Anamika has a question.
Yeah, I think, can you hear me? I'm in the train, so I'm a
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
minute. Yeah, so as we spoke about this extracurricular activities and maybe the certificates or something, do we only target 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, or is it over the years? Because I am speaking from a Fauji perspective, an army background perspective. Sometimes it so happens, like it happened with my daughter herself, that maybe 11th and 12th, she was in a place where she didn't get so many opportunities to like participate in MUNs or something. So it is only these later years, or it can be anything, or maybe they have done something online. So, yeah.
Ma'am, all of it counts. Anju ma'am, if you want to add something, आप बता दीजिएगा. All of it counts. The reason being, we know that the child has moved around. It'll be there in their profile. It'll be there in the overall application that they fill in, right? So what you can tell us is that what have they done with the sort of opportunities that they've gotten? अगर उस बच्चे के पास opportunity ही online की थी and the child made use of that, why not? Tell us about it. If they're continuing an activity that they've started maybe in grade 5 and they're still continuing it till grade 12, tell us about that, because उससे consistency पता चलती है. So one form of consistency comes from academics any which ways, right? Because you've been a student for 12 years, no questions asked. True. The second form of consistency can come from one of your application, like one of your extracurriculars. right? Something that you started in grade 1, grade 2, grade 5, but you're still continuing that because you fell in love with that particular activity. So it's all about opportunities and how well you've used those opportunities.
Yeah, because like they gain a lot of expertise in a lot of other fields, like maybe sports or something, but maybe not participated in a competition or something, you know? So like I don't know if they
Could
can
you
just
specify
write.
this particular activity so that I can explain this further?
Yeah, see, it's like for my daughter, she just picked up guitar during COVID and then she really plays well. But yeah, if you say ki she's
She's not competed
participated
anywhere,
somewhere,
right?
yeah, yeah,
No
yeah.
problems. Does she have videos of herself from that time and now?
Of course, she
That
has
adds
got an
value.
Instagram
Good.
channel and she's like been
So
posting her
that's exactly
videos.
what you need. She must have been posting since then. So we can see dates from there and we can see dates till now. So we can see the transition of this child as well, how well they've trained themselves, right? So once you open up the application forms, I don't know what class these kids are in right now, but if they're in 12th at the moment, and if you've started the applications, you'll be able to see that there are different categories that we've put in. There's personal, there's professional, there's national, school level, international, so on and so forth. So if you put this under the personal category and you put the videos of that child or Instagram page and the child describes it in about 100 words to us, that this is why I started and this is why I want to continue with it, we know that it is a space of consistency. So you're good to go, right?
Yeah.
And also, since you mentioned about your armed forces background, I think you just have to look around. Like, we're not looking at somebody to certify that child has done something, okay? And that too in today's world, when these certification are people, it's raining certificates. In
Yeah.
fact, it's opposite. Like, either the certificate has to be of with some validation, but if it's just these random things, we don't know what it is, right?
Yeah.
So I think just the very uh, experience of a student shifting places, all right, that itself talks about something. So maybe that is a skill that should be emphasized in an essay, that how your journey of changing 5 school has made you who you are today. You don't need any certificate for that. Those are certain things that you can definitely use, I mean, coming from your experience.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
understood. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I wanted to know that like I hope these things are considered while we like if somebody is like genuinely reflecting these things that they have
Okay.
gained these skills over the years. Yeah. So thank you.
In fact, I'm sure even Ashoka has. We have Army, Navy, and Air Force scholarships. We have. I don't know if you're aware of it.
So we don't have a scholarship separately for that. They come under our financial aid thing, but the
Okay.
financial aid anyways covers all of it. So
Yeah. So for Flame, we have a special scholarship. We've signed an MOU with the Army, Navy, and Air Force, where that's our contribution of just thanking everybody who does such a
Oh,
challenging work.
that's so
Yes.
great,
Yes.
Anju. I was not aware of that. Yeah, that's
Yes.
helpful.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. We'll go through the application and then.
Sure. Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think Ela has a question as well.
Yes, my question is regarding the, Anju ma'am said that there is one more attempt to reapply. So, in that case, like, at which stage, because the statement of purpose would remain the same. So, probably like, what exactly needs to be done?
So when we are the selection, see, you can't change maybe 80% of your things, right? But the only two things you can do is, number one, you can prepare better for your aptitude test. Maybe that is the reason you were not selected.
Mhm.
You can come better prepared. Statement of purpose, you have to rewrite.
Okay.
If you choose to copy paste the same, that is your choice.
Mhm.
But you can rewrite your statement of purpose,
Okay.
relook at it, because that's the opportunity student has. And of course, rest of the form pretty much remains the same.
Yes. Okay. And Yeah, Vrinda, can I just know about is there a reapplication in case of Ashoka as well? No.
No, you can only apply once in the entire cycle, so you might want to choose your round wisely. And
Okay.
even if the child thinks of applying in the second round,
Mhm.
the first application will also get rejected automatically.
Okay.
Right.
So
So,
just
like, for
follow-up
example,
question.
last year we had a case where a parent was just trying to understand what the form is all about, and rather than filling it in their name or as a dummy, they filled it up under the child's name. And unfortunately, the second round the child could not apply because the first application was already submitted. So the second application that they had worked so hard on could not get submitted.
Wow.
Yeah, because we kept telling
Yeah.
everyone that you can only fill up one application, and she literally filled in the documents of the child in the first application. Literally, अगर documents नहीं होते उसमें तो हम देख लेते, but उसने दो applications भर दी. Second round में the kid is like, we don't have a link for the aptitude assessment because the first application had already been processed. We had already put that in the rejection pile.
So is there any a follow-up question to that? Is there any advantage or any I mean to these rounds? Is there any advantage to somebody who's filling in the first round or the second or the third? So like what is there any recommendation that this round should be
So
applied
my
in?
recommendation has always been as early as possible, to be honest, because this is specifically for CBSE students. I don't know, Anju ma'am can like
Absolutely,
more to it.
absolutely. Because also you should understand, a lot of people don't apply in the first two rounds because how many people can we go talk? I mean, we're doing as much outreach we can, but there's
Yeah,
so many who come last minute who don't know about it, so they still keep waiting for their results to come. Though we constantly write that in all our communication that we don't need your grade 12 results.
yeah,
And also, studying our data, what we've seen is our first two application rounds are of students who are very well informed students who are making this choice. And obviously, the number is also, more manageable than what comes into the last round because those application pools swell a lot because people are just applying everywhere, depending on how they got to know. And then also just one, this is for flame, I can tell you the last round the number of offers also go out of very less. So I mean that's something that since it's just 14 people here, I'm telling you this, and just for your ears, please.
for
Yeah.
us that's not the case, ma'am. But the thing is that okay, I generally give students one or two reasons. One of my major reasons for them to apply early is if you're a CBSE student or you're an IB student or Cambridge. IB and Cambridge have practicals or they have preparations or they have those special assignments and exams that they're doing in January, right? March and April, they're preparing for their boards or their pre-boards. May, they're sitting for their pre-boards, and June, they're sitting for their board exams. So IB Cambridge is out, right? CBSE, if you back calculate, November, they're still okay. December, last week or December mid, they're beginning with their pre-boards, their second set of pre-boards or their first set of pre-boards, depending on the school that they're in. January, you're preparing for your board exams. February, you're sitting for your board exams. February, March, April, depending on the timelines that you have or the date sheets that you have, you are done. Ashoka's applications end on 25th of April. You have no time to fill up a good application. It's as simple as that. Because an application at Ashoka is requiring for you to fill up an essay as well, like two essays in the beginning, from the get-go. And that requires a lot of mental bandwidth more than anything else. And
And
I actually generally tell students that, sorry, Anju ma'am, एक second, last thing.
yeah.
I generally tell students that, dude, अगर नहीं भरना है ना फॉर्म सबमिट नहीं करना है फर्स्ट राउंड में, अपनी एप्लीकेशन खत्म कर दो by the first round at least. Because post November, you are neither going to the school for extra documentation that you might need for the form. Second, you are not going to be in the mental space to fill up the application to the best of your ability. And third, the most important, my readers are very fresh right now. They have not read any application for the past 4 months or more than that since my last cycle ended. So they will have the mental space to give you that benefit of the doubt every step right now. तो मेरे लिए सीट्स खत्म नहीं होती हैं, लेकिन प्रोसेस बहुत बहुत लंबा खिंचता है बाय दैट टाइम, राइट? अगेन अंजू मैम, ऑल योर्स, सॉरी.
Yeah, so no, I just wanted to say about the time factor only. I think the time is what you mentioned. This is something that everyone should make a note. It's not because of more about the volume or anything. It's about your commitment to yourself. Just
Yeah.
imagine if you've applied in the early cycles, you have your result before the Christmas break ends, and like now, how focused can you do your pre-boards, your boards, your everything else? So that's something, what I say, the difference between the planned journey and like a haphazard one. So that's what it is.
Yeah, and also even if you by chance don't get in, just in case you don't get in, at least you know that you need a plan B. अगर बिल्कुल fag end तक you've left these applications, which will take time, each and every one of us, all the liberal education universities will take time. If you've left us till the fag end, तुम कितनी applications एक बारी में कर लोगे? And by that time you also have to start preparation for your COET. So it's better that you apply early, no? It's finish off, like get one application, two applications, three applications out of your kitty, and then work on the rest.
Makes sense. Great. So before we say goodbye, I know this is a very pressing and a very important question, and just if you can briefly let us know about the kind of scholarships that are available, because I know that there are some need-based and merit-based, and the financial aids that you've been talking about. If both of you can briefly tell us about both universities' scholarship and financial aid process, please.
Okay, I'll
On-
just go first.
Anju.
So, at Flame, you don't apply for any merit scholarship because we're already looking at it. So a lot of our students who do get an offer, the offer comes along with the scholarship. Those are the merit scholarship. And these are again based on the scholarship committee viewing the application. And here, like they say, merit, it is talking about your academic scores. We have a special scholarship where we just see everything else that you've done, and for which the student has to apply. Maybe I'm a performer, or I'm an athlete, or whatever that you have done. So when you have certain special talent, you apply for it, and then that's a scholarship you get. That for that you have to apply, right? The third one is financial aid, where we are absolutely sure that who we want to give, parents who have the salary of 8 lakh below, and per annum. These are the students who are applying for scholarship. And so these are the students who apply for the admission. They have to finish the selection process. Once they're selected, then they apply for financial aid. And we do talk, because all our applicants, somebody with our program advisors are talking to them. And this can be 100%. This is mostly 100% of tuition fee, but in a lot of cases, it's like a full ride where everything is paid, not only the program fee or anything, but also the accommodation, food, and whatever the facilities are on campus. And then we also work with all the defense forces. Army personnels, Air Force, Navy personnels, their kids also get some kind of scholarship. In that, we have some categories. I don't remember it off the head, whether, if you're a retired person, if you're a serving officer, even the children of martyrs, everything, those considerations are there. That's it.
All right. See, for Ashoka, I've put in three links actually here. So I've put the first link as the timeline for Ashoka, so that all of you can refer to it. Second is the merit come mean. Sorry, the second link is the financial aid, but the third link is what I'm talking about first. It's called the merit come mean scholarship. It's for the sciences. Now, for all those who are not aware of this, Ashoka happens to be one of the biggest philanthropic initiatives in the country today in terms of the education world, right? We started off with just a few, but right now Ashoka has approximately 200 plus founders who make sure that anybody and everybody who deserves an Ashoka education can also afford it. Getting into the university is on your child's merit, but making sure that they can afford it is a conversation between you and us, right? And I'm not saying this just because it's a thing that we say, but I mean it. So when I say the merit cum means scholarship for the sciences, it's for a very small niche, specifically applying for the sciences, because we're also trying to understand if we can go through with a merit scholarship, because getting into the university is also on your merit. But it also has a concept of means to it. So if your parents can afford it, but you still have the merit, you will still have to go through the rest of the profile like everybody else, the whole payment process, right? You might not be eligible for it. However, the financial aid that I would like you to know about. So Ashoka happens to be a university which, like I said, nearly 50% of my class is on financial aid every year, right? So for all those who did not know, last year, 47% of my class was on financial aid, out of which 21% students were on 100% financial aid. My fees has gone up a little bit because of the annual raise in it. So my fees now looks like 12.4 lakhs per annum, but 78 crores were raised last year. This year, approximately 100 crores were raised this year for the students who wanted to apply for a financial aid. Then, moreover, if I have to give you a bifurcation, this is what the structure looks like. So, going on to the grid, please note that all the incomes written in the first column are after taxes, right? So, for example, your parents are earning somewhere approximately 27 to 30 lakhs a year, but they are actually paying up to 8 lakhs in taxes. So, you will fall in the second category of my grid from 12 to 22 lakhs, which means you are eligible to 100% tuition and a 50% residence fee waiver. So your fees will not look like 12.4 lakhs per annum, which is inclusive of your residential cost. It will look like 1.6 to 2.6 lakhs per annum, only inclusive of your residential cost, right? So you can see and check which category of the grid you fall into, and then you can take it from there. Like I said, once you get into the university, that's when we start this conversation with you. Either you're eligible for the merit cum means scholarship, or you're eligible for both, which is merit cum means and the financial aid. We'll ask you for a set of documents, in which we're basically asking for your income tax returns, income statements, loans, liabilities, dependencies. And based on all of that, we'll create a financial structure of your family, go through each and every document in depth, and then come back to you with a result of a financial aid. 99% of the times, the answer is yes for all those who apply for a financial aid. And for all those who do not know this, approximately 8,000 students have been in the ecosystem of Ashoka over the years, out of which 5,000 have graduated and 3,000 are still in the ecosystem. And I'm counting all batches, undergrads, masters, PhDs, so on and so forth. All in all, out of these 8,000, 5,000 students have benefited from the financial aid program at Ashoka. Because we're making sure that we don't bring down the quality at Ashoka, but we make sure that you can afford the good quality that is there. Right? Okay, Ojasvi, I am done.
Thank you so much. Are there any other questions or concerns or anything that anybody would like to ask?
We have a question in the chat box. What if your pre-board 1 scores weren't that great? So should we wait for the results for pre-board 2 and then submit the application in the second round? Doesn't help. Your predictors are not going to change. And plus, we're not even looking for school predictors. Ashoka can actually accept self-predicted scores as well.
Okay. All right. That's great.
Second, does Flame accept self-predicted?
Yeah, self-predicted. Because, there are a lot of students applying from 2-tier, 3-tier towns where
Yeah.
the schools don't give the predicted scores. So
Yep.
we allow the students to give the self-predicted scores as well.
So for Ashoka, IB and Cambridge cannot submit self-predictions. They will have to go through the school route.
Yes,
But
yes.
CBSE, ICSE can.
Yeah.
And if the self-predicted is if the self-predicted is way far than the than the score that they actually get in their boards, does that impact
You
their
should be eligible then. Because, we've selected not based on your marks alone, no?
Yeah.
right?
See, unless you're getting a deferred or a conditional offer where you have to match your predicted, वहाँ पे 1 or 2% ऊपर नीचे works, right? But अगर आपके पास already confirmed offer है, we've seen your academic rigor, you would rather prefer if you can match your predicted scores. So what you do is take a range in your head when you're self-predicting. English is 90 to 95, hypothetically. Give us 93, so that you're not over-predicting or under-predicting.
Okay.
ठीक?
ठीक, works. All right. Thank you so much, Vrinda and Anju, both of you, for this wonderful session. I personally actually got to know a lot about the whole process. There are a few students who've been asking me questions. Now I'll be able to answer those questions better. I'm sure everybody else, all the counselors, and if there are any students here, they were able to get a lot more understanding of both the universities too. Thank you so much once again for taking out the time and being here with us. Thank you so much, Anju ma'am. Thank you, Vrinda ma'am.